Good afternoon, everybody. On this Thursday, September 18th, 2025, I got all your stories for your rush hour ride home. A lot to get to with Candace Owens, as we have the lawyer for the Macron family going on a podcast describing the evidence they plan to present at trial in their defamation lawsuit against Candace Owens. This is really interesting. We're going to hear what they have to say. We're getting to sort of figure out their game plan. Then Candace Owens responds on Twitter, doubling down. So we're going to share that. Also, at the back end of this episode, as we talk more about Jimmy Kimmel being fired by ABC, the ramifications, the First Amendment issues, and all of that, we'll discuss what Candace Owens is now saying regarding Charlie Kirk's shooter. She believes they might have the wrong person due to different outfits being worn and surveillance footage. So we're going to get her take at the beginning on Macron, and then her take at the end on Charlie Kirk's shooter. So, and by the way, last story, I got to save it for the end. This singer David, a 20-year-old singer, spells it D4VD, stupid. They found a body in the frunk of his car. That's the front trunk. It's small. They identified it. It's a 15-year-old girl. The car was parked for a month in this property in the Hollywood Hills. Now they've raided his home. I mean, this is becoming a real tragic story. We'll have that at the end. And somewhere in the middle, we'll cover Megyn Kelly's absolute inability to understand the issue at hand. The hypocrisy. We're going to call it out. We got the hard evidence. All this and more starts right now on The Rush. And yeah, this is wild, folks. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. What a crazy time to be alive. What timeline is this? Bridget Macron is set to offer scientific proof she's a woman in the Candace Owens lawsuit. And I'm no expert on defamation, but she needs to not only offer proof now, she's going to have to prove that she shared that proof with Candace Owens, right? Candace Owens is allowed to believe someone's transgender. She's entitled to that belief because unlike some people out there, I do defend people's First Amendment rights to believe what they want to believe. As an audience, you can decide to consume that content or not. Now, the issue is whether or not Brigitte Macron provided her information that she would then have to willfully ignore, right? So before I share the clip, France's First Lady, Brigitte Macron, set to present evidence, photographic and scientific, that proves she's a woman as part of her defamation lawsuit. I mean, really, my thought here is, and again, a lot of people will say, why does she have to prove anything? Because she's suing Candace. So when you take away the sensitivity of the actual trans issue, it really comes down to she has to provide that burden of proof. Much like when we cover Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively is suing Justin Baldoni for harassment. It's up to Blake Lively to provide those receipts, that evidence, and that proof. Otherwise, a jury is going to say, I don't think so, there, partner. So either way, Macron's attorney, Tom Claire, shed insight into Brigitte and French President Emmanuel Macron's legal strategy ahead of their face-off in a U.S. court with the conservative influencer. Now, I could be wrong, but I have not seen any attempts by Candace Owens to have this dismissed. But what we do know, as I covered in my video last week, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already for all of these updates. What we do know is that Candace's attorneys were providing the information through the court docket to extend the amount of space they would have in their motion to dismiss. So these things can take a little while to play out. Apparently, Candace Owens was actually looking to, provide an entire transcript of her entire docuseries in that. I mean, that's just insane. It's a lot of content. But the jury is going to have their tea filled if this thing actually goes to trial, because there's a lot to cover. And of course, Macron's side has provided a response to every single claim they think is wrong. Now, Candace responds, says this is verifiably false. She isn't suing me for saying she's a man. She has never sued anyone ever for saying she's a dude because she is one. Now, okay, double, triple, quadrupling down by Candace Owens. I mean, at this point, it's just like monopoly money. Either she wins or she's going to owe hundreds of millions of dollars, you would think. So here's the BBC, and this is their podcast, highly produced. There's narratives, the host, it is complicated, but I can't stand this style of podcasting. It's like too good for me, but hey, I guess that's a compliment to them. Here is the BBC's podcast Fame Under Fire, interviewing the lawyer for the Macron family.
Transitioned in his early 30s, and I believe that the entire state is colluding to protect that secret. And like I said, I would stake my entire professional career on all of those points.
Tom, that's kind of a potted run through of Candace's different theories about the Macrons. What are your clients' response to this, first of all?
Well, it's provably false is the short version of it. I mean, it's obviously upsetting and offensive to have false things said about you, but this is someone with a significant audience who has done this and said these falsehoods over an extended period of time after being warned that they were false.
And this is the big question that people have, right? On Candace Owens' podcast, she says all they had to do was provide evidence that she wasn't born a man at X, Y, and Z. They're claiming they provided that evidence. Now, a lot of people that are on the pro-Candace Owens side are saying that doesn't exist. But again, you have to remember, you've only been fed the version of the story she has wanted you to hear. I'm curious because I don't really have an opinion at this point, because there have been claims made by Brigitte Macron's side. And as we know, you can sue someone and drop your lawsuit after you've made your PR point where, I'm coming for you, and then you don't. It's like, it looks as though the Macron family, like, they're taking this thing seriously. They're suing Candace Owens in Delaware, which is where her company's incorporated. Like, they are here to win this. They're aware of the Streisand effect. And they said, we don't care. We're sick and tired of her spewing these lies. They say it's provably false. Well, now they're going to have their chance. Not a he said, she said, where you take things out of context or you only answer half-truths. They're going to have their chance to prove it. They're going to get, I'm assuming, deposed by Candace Owens' attorneys. I'm sure Candace Owens will be in the room, in letting her attorneys know exactly what questions she wants answered. And then it's going to go to trial. I mean, this is the way it plays out. It's slow, it's expensive, but there won't be any he said, she said by the time this thing's over.
And, it's obviously upsetting. These folks are obviously very important on the world stage, but they are also human beings. And it is offensive and hurtful to them to be accused of effectively criminal actions and conspiring to lie to the world about their identities, their relationship, and their professional lives.
All right, so there it is. So, and again, you can go listen to that whole thing. I'm able to enjoy someone's commentary, even if I disagree with them. I like Megyn Kelly. I think she gets a lot wrong. I like Candace Owens. I like the way she brings her audience along, storytelling, but there is collateral damage to that. If you're not being, if you're being disingenuous or if you're willfully ignoring the truth, I'm not saying she's doing that. We'll see how it plays out. But I will say, when Candace Owens began playing the victim, when she started saying, oh, here they are coming after some mom who's a podcaster in her basement, it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. On any given day, Candace Owens has a bigger microphone than the Macron families do. Let's not pretend that because they're the president of their country, that Candace Owens doesn't have her own agency and all of that. We're going to treat Candace Owens the way I think she would want to, with her big boy pants on, and she'll be held accountable if the court finds that she did something wrong. Otherwise, she'll continue making she'll continue to share this story if she's on the right side of it, and if the Macrons can't prove with all the evidence they say they have. I mean, they say they got evidence of her being pregnant. And if she had babies several decades ago, you don't exactly have all of the digital timestamps that they have now. But in the end, can't they just do a genetics test, a DNA test? We'll have to see. We will have to see. So I wanted to get into next, and now stick around, my Candace Owens people, because we'll get back to Candace Owens in a minute. It all ties together, baby. But now we have Megyn Kelly responding to Jimmy Kimmel being fired. I want to play the clip, a very brief version of what Jimmy Kimmel said. I insist, the more I've listened to the clip of Jimmy Kimmel and what he said, the more I can completely take the wind out of the sails of anybody who thinks he should have been fired. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, if you're going to use your political power, the president, to get Jimmy Kimmel fired, effing own it. Own it. Say it loud, say it proud. So coming up next, I'm going to share what Megyn Kelly said, why it's provably wrong, after a quick word from our sponsor. Today's episode of the Rush Hour podcast is sponsored by Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one of my favorites. Ooh, are they delicious. Start your day with a protein-packed breakfast from Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Oh, you thought they only had delicious smoothie options? You're mistaken. Pair that smoothie with a toasted breakfast wrap, order ahead online, and earn rewards with the Tropical Smoothie Cafe app. Like to customize things? Add more good vibes to your smoothie. Fresh add-ins like almonds, spinach and kale, chia seeds, or supplements like protein and Energizer. My favorite smoothie is the Peanut Paradise, chock full of 22 grams of protein. My wife loves the mixed berry Greek yogurt bowl topped with fresh strawberries and blueberries, which comes with a whopping 26 grams of protein. Make every day a getaway with our bold flavors and better for you pairings only at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Tropical Smoothie Cafe, you're on Tropic Time now. Now back to the show. We'll just read the first paragraph here. Megyn Kelly said, I'm not sure who needs to hear this, but Jimmy Kimmel got on the air and falsely stated as a fact that Charlie Kirk's killer was MAGA, smearing an entire movement in Trump in particular with a vile, disgusting lie. And at a time when the threat against those on the right is at an all-time high. I'm here to say the alleged shooter of Charlie Kirk, we still don't know their political ideology. We don't understand. They seem to be trans-friendly. Does that make them left? I don't think it should. I don't think what someone decides to do with their body and who to support, sexually speaking, would make them on one side or the other. No offense, but there's plenty of gay-friendly people on the right. I think that's a good thing. Looking at you, Lindsey Graham. You know what I mean? I think it's a good thing. Be gay. Who the hell cares? I certainly don't. Or straight or trans or whatever the hell you want to be. Do what you want, as long as there's no collateral damage to it. You're all consenting adults, right? So the question I have from my audience and anybody listening, and Megyn Kelly, like she understands. She was a lawyer. She has the time to look into this, but she said that Jimmy Kimmel got on the air and falsely stated as a fact that Charlie Kirk's killer was MAGA. Let's have a listen to what was said.
Desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them. And
MAGA is desperately trying to characterize this kid who killed Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them. Break that down nice and slow. That is not Jimmy Kimmel saying, oh, that MAGA did this, he was MAGA. What he's saying is MAGA, and this is true, from Trump to everyone else pointing fingers, are desperately trying to let people know it's anyone other than them. That's what was said. And that is the truth. That is exactly what happened as soon as this death happened. Well, he's got left-leaning ideology. Governor of Utah said that. Well, they said, yeah, he's got all these different things. And then when reporters pushed back on him, they had no answer to that. Their only thing is that his girlfriend is transitioning from male to female. That's literally all that they've shown so far. So this isn't Jimmy Kimmel willfully ignoring the facts. He's saying MAGA's trying to point the finger at other people, period. That's what was said. So Megyn Kelly then posts this. She responds to Ed Krasenstein, who says, this is Perry Sook of Nexstar Media Group. He's responsible for canceling Jimmy Kimmel. And she said, oh, we will. We'll tell him how proud we are of him. Megyn Kelly, go F yourself. You're so wrong on this story. And to think yesterday or even this morning, we were giving Megyn Kelly that credit for defending the First Amendment rights. For those that are saying this is not an issue of the president getting in the way of ABC's programming, you're absolutely wrong. They knew there was a merger coming up. They knew they would need the FCC approval, and they knew they needed to get it, so they offed Jimmy Kimmel after those demands became known. And we'll get into more of that in a second, but here's Stephen A. Smith on his fellow Disney host, Jimmy Kimmel, getting yanked off the air. Listen to what Stephen A. Smith has to say about the First Amendment.
The only thing that I would say as it pertains to Jimmy Kimmel was, where was the joke? Because you're a late night host. And obviously that has a comedic attachment to it. Where was the joke? Obviously it wasn't anything funny about that.
Well, now, the way we understand humor is by what's called laughter. So let's actually continue listening. We'll go jump forward to the moments of the laughter that came out after what was said.
Staff, which got some criticism, but on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House. which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years, and it's going to be a beauty.
Yes.
Laughter.
He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction.
Folks, that's actually a really funny joke. The fourth stage of grief when you're Donald Trump is construction, demolition, then construction, right? So the laugh is there, but I'm not here to argue whether or not a joke is funny. That's not what First Amendment relies on. Well, just because the joke wasn't funny, we can now fire you. No. It's the attempt at humor that really is important. But also, even if he wasn't making an attempt at humor, who cares? Stephen A. Smith, what the fuck are you talking about? What is he talking about? I didn't hear any attempt of a joke. Do you understand what a premise is? Now, I've done comedy for 14 years here, so I don't want to comedy-splain you this. But you set up a premise, then you shatter that premise with a punchline, and that's where the joke comes, because that's the releasing of the tension. So the premise was Trump's taking this really seriously. The punchline is Trump not taking it seriously. Are we insane right now that we don't get that? Now, that's not actually what the criticism is, although that's what pissed Trump off, right? That's what pissed Trump off. Come on, let's be real. It was that Trump was being made fun of. The criticism is that he was saying that MAGA was at fault, which we already know provably was not true. That was the setup to the punchline. And by the way, the late, great Patrice O'Neill said it best. It's not about whether the joke is funny that matters. It's about the intent at humor.
Why not? The attempt is what I'm trying to fight for. The joke may funny jokes and unfunny jokes are come out of the same birth. That you don't know if anything is going to be funny. You should attempt to be able to make anything funny.
And again, it was funny. It got laughs. It might not be funny to everybody, but you can make jokes about a topic without making fun of that person. It was not a joke about Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk and what's going around with him was the subject of the joke. You understand this? So I lose my absolute mind when people misconstrue what the actual issue really is. Here we have Trump saying, I banned all government censorship and restored free speech. Gavin Newsom responded, this aged well.
And I banned all government censorship and restored free speech in America. We have free speech. We didn't have free speech.
So there it is, free speech, unless you make fun of Trump's response to the Charlie Kirk shooting, which is exactly what happened there. I can't believe Stephen A. Smith. I mean, I honestly was shocked to hear how easily pundits are, people that are camera facing, how easy they are to not understand the issue here. And you'll get people that say, well, Jimmy Kimmel made fun of Tucker Carlson when he got fired. Okay, so an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Are we not fighting for the First Amendment or what? These are the most important episodes of my podcast I've ever made in my fucking life right now, and I feel like I'm speaking to a goddamn empty room. I feel like people do not understand what's going on. We've got our heads on fire, and rather than jump into that pool of water, we're going, well, your head's on fire more than mine. What the fuck are we talking about right now? Is this not insane? And for the people that are saying, well, the reason why Jimmy Kimmel actually was fired is because his ratings were low. If his ratings were low, then that's they can get rid of the show if they want. But that's entirely not what happened here. Trump, you want to swing your big dictatorial dick? Swing it loud and proud. Let the people know. Say it from your fucking orange chest what you mean out there. Don't hide behind this bullshit.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk.
No, he didn't.
Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. So, you can call that free speech or not.
Well, I'd love free speech. Donald Trump's got the lowest ratings of any sitting president in the history. Can we just fire him? Well, that doesn't come till the next election, and we'll see if gerrymandering has anything to do about it. But either way, former President Barack Obama responds, says Trump is muzzling the media. After years of complaining about cancel culture, the current administration has taken it to a new and dangerous level by routinely threatening regulatory action against media companies unless they muzzle or fire reporters and commentators it doesn't like. I mean, at what point is Trump going to get in between Google and YouTube. And now YouTube's been great. YouTube is, I got to knock on wood, YouTube has been the best platform for independent, there's maybe some others are better. There's certain things you can't talk about on here without kind of like, dealing with some, bleeping and blooping. And that's because of the sponsors, whatever. But the point is that YouTube is the only social media that's a revenue share. They give back to their creators better than anywhere else. Anybody on TikTok or Instagram or anywhere else wants to get on YouTube. It is the cat's meow baby. What is Trump going to do to try to get words removed and speech removed? Now, YouTube, when you speak into the microphone, it gets translated and transcribed. So the words you say are just stored in a cloud somewhere. And if you are critical of this administration, a time will come when YouTube will be the next one where you got to go, put on a nice smile, get your Trump president photo back there, and just bow down. That's what's coming eventually. Because right now, starting from the top, the fish rots from the head. We have the biggest, the most, front-facing people getting axed. Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel. And in both cases, they were axed because the larger conglomerate, the larger corporation wanted to protect their ass because they had other deals in the works. That's why they were axed. Not because of their low ratings, because Trump wasn't going to approve mergers that they needed. Here's FCC's car saying Jimmy Kimmel appeared to mislead the public. Again, lying to our faces. At least CNBC here attempted to offer a point. Like, are we really trying to censor comedians?
But ratings have come down across the board as a result of course, people just don't watch nearly like they did. I mean, I can go back, and so can my colleagues, to remembering, though, the times of Johnny Carson. Now, again, to that point, Chairman, I mean, the administration in power was typically the subject of most of his jokes, as would seem to be the case now. I mean, these are comedians we're talking about. This is not the news.
Well, look, I can tell you, Jimmy Kimmel is no Johnny Carson. And the issue that arose here where lots and lots of people were upset was not a joke. It was not, making fun or pillaring me or the administration or the president. It was appearing to directly mislead the American public about
We don't need to listen to the clip again. They are mischaracterizing what was being said. They're creating a bigger issue than not. If audiences want to get rid of their Hulu, or if they all want to do write-in campaigns to get him fired, that would be organic. But this isn't organic because it is pressure coming from the executive branch. Call it what it is. And if we can't agree on that, it's going to continue to happen.
I do have an issue with some of the statements made by Brendan Carr, because if there were an FCC commissioner on the other side of the political spectrum, from someone maybe on this network, and they didn't like their speech, would they put pressure on, some of some of the advertising?
And by the way, the answer is it hasn't happened, right? So here's Fox News doing the What About Us? And it's good on them for beginning to wonder, hey, when Trump's time is done, what if there's a authoritarian, left-leaning political leader who wants to make sure that they're not being spoken about critically by Fox News? First of all, you can, and this is the bigger problem that I have. You've got both sides saying, well, the other side does it too. Find me where the Democratic Party, the president, whether it's Obama or Biden, is using their leverage and control to stop people from saying opinions that they don't like. Find me that moment. It doesn't exist. It's not out there. So yeah, there's going to be crazy woke people and crazy ultra-right people that are going to, not want to accept any speech that doesn't live up to whatever their standards of purity is. That's going to exist. But find me where in the government this was already happening. That's a dangerous precedent. And the Stephen A. Smiths, the Megyn Kellys, they are not understanding the bigger issue at play here, which is it's not about what you think of Jimmy Kimmel. It's not about whether he did blackface back in the day or was a misogynist on the Man Show. It's about his not being pushed around by our political leaders. You don't like them, don't watch it. Now, what we're seeing is plenty of people that are upset with the firing are now pulling their Hulu and their Disney, and that's people voting with their dollar. If you don't support them, make them hear it. Make them hear ABC, Disney, Hulu. Make them hear your beliefs. Put your money where your mouth is. Let's continue the chat. All right, so we're back to Candace Owens. I told you we'd get back to Candace Owens. All roads lead back to Candace Owens. So Jackson Hinkle posted this. Breaking, Candace Owens does not believe the person in the maroon shirt walking on the morning of the Charlie Kirk assassination is Tyler Robinson. The FBI has not released footage of the person in the maroon shirt. This was given by this photo, I believe was presented by TMZ. Kind of limping because they thought he had like a gun in his leg pocket or something. In one video, he's limping because they thought he had the gun in his leg. In another video, he's not limping. Candace says, with everything I've plotted onto a timeline and with my source on the inside, it seems the feds are lying about the outfit switch, which never made sense to begin with. Hence the laughably fake messages. There are at least two people involved, in my view. And I've listened to both sides about these messages. We've reported on Candace Owens and many others we've shared that think these messages are fake. Oh, my dear, my love, my grandpa won't like very old timey. And the fact that in like 8 messages, he confessed to the killing. He was able to link the weapon and do all of these different things that clearly made him what they believe to be the patsy, the person they're setting up for this. I don't know if that's true. He's still alive. I'll tell you what, though, if he dies in prison, this gets crazy. This gets absolutely crazy because as of right now, he can speak to people and say, no, those text messages are made up, or where's the metadata of it? Because not only are they going to rely on him, his accounts having the text messages, but Discord would have copies of this. It would all be presented in the court. So for that reason, logically, I'm stuck. I want to believe that these text messages are real, but we've seen the government clearly want to pin this on some sort of ideological issue, right? Immediately saying this is a left-leaning thing. The more we've learned about this, the more we don't think he was one of these Nick Fuentes guys. We don't think he's really got much political ideology whatsoever. They searched his Discord. They looked at all of the chats that he was in. There was only 2 mentions of Trump or Biden, and it was just like, hey, who's winning the election? No, I mean, if you are sort of activated, if you are engaged politically, you'll be in chat rooms talking nonstop. So a lot of people believe it just might have been someone battling whatever mental health issues they're battling, dating someone who's in the process of transitioning, wanting to take out a leader who's, or I should say Charlie Kirk, a political commentator, who is, anti-trans. And that could be as simple as that. It could also be what Candace Owens believes, something that's a way more skilled marksman. A lot of people saying, how the hell do you nail that shot from 200 yards away? Yeah, that might be fine at the gun range, but in front of 3,000 people, all of the nerves and all of the making your first kill, all of these crazy things. It's hard enough to shoot a deer when you're in have all of that sort of going in your head, let alone commit what is one of the biggest possibly politically motivated assassinations in our modern time. So again, I don't know, but I don't blame Candace Owens for not understanding and believing the story. When it goes back to the initial conversation today about Candace Owens, the blame will be on her if Bridget Macron provides a timeline of undeniable evidence. Again, we haven't gotten there yet, so we'll have to see. Okay, let's end on something a little bit lighter, why don't we? Like Mark Zuckerberg, another person who's bent the knee, another billionaire who's, could care less about First Amendment rights and safety concerns for people, just using his app to divide us as much as possible. Well, now he's in cahoots with Ray-Bans, which I love Ray-Bans, but all right, is anyone going to buy these Ray-Ban glasses? Here he is doing a live demo. Maki Zuckerberg he left his $1 billion compound in Hawaii, stolen from all the indigenous people. And here he is doing a live demo that fails. Have a listen.
All right. So I think our call will be coming in any moment now.
So he's trying to do a call on his Meta glasses and it doesn't go through.
Boss, WhatsApp video call.
There we go. Let's see what happens there.
So he's looking off to the side saying, guys, what's happening here? So the call doesn't get picked up. And he's like, and then he has this moment where he's like, let's move on.
Yeah, let's, what do you think? Let's just go ahead and...
WhatsApp video call.
People are going... Isn't it fun watching a billionaire just suffer?
Give him a call.
So he keeps on messing it up. The creator of Facebook is the one messing it up. Okay, well, I'll buy the next round. How about that? So yeah, how crazy is this? They're showing off these Meta glasses. I don't know if this is a good thing or not. You guys tell me in the comment section. The glasses, if you're in a conversation in public, the glasses will help focus you to who you're talking with and drown out other noise.
Jack. My name in, it's gonna be a couple minutes. Nice. I need your advice. Okay. Every time I get my picture taken, I feel like I'm...
So this is a scenario where the person is looking around and hearing a lot of other people talking. And so he hits this button.
Start conversation focus.
He hits this, he says, hey, what's it called? Hey, Meta, start conversation focus. And it takes the conversations out from around him.
Starting conversation focus.
Okay, go on.
As soon as the camera comes up, I start to have this like serious...
I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you're the personality type who gets distracted, but isn't that what the human brain and body's supposed to do? Like filter out the outside noise, learn how to focus. I don't know. It just feels like a solution to a problem I didn't know we had. In other news, a sad story, David, the singer, apparently lived in the house that LAPD searched. This again, they found a body in the frunk of his car. The frunk is a very small trunk. It should not be big enough to put a body, yet they found a body decomposing. Turned out to be a missing person who I believe was 13 at the time. She would have now been 15, Celeste Rivas. And apparently her mother knew she was dating a guy named David. He is, I think, 21 years old, and the house that they just did a search, his manager was living at, he's on tour doing concerts. How the hell are you doing concerts when a body was found in the frunk of a car that was registered to you? This is either the biggest setup job in the history of the world, or this guy is a monster. I honestly don't know which is which. Here's some other cruel news. This is Spotify coming up with their new terms of services. Again, more billionaires robbing creatives.
Yeah, so I want to read to you some of the new artist terms from Spotify. This is total nightmare stuff. This is going to blow up in their face just like it did for WeTransfer. But listen to this. So accordingly, you hereby grant to Spotify a non-exclusive, transferable, sub-licensable, royalty-free, fully paid, irrevocable, worldwide license to reproduce, make available, perform and display, translate, modify, create derivative works from, distribute, and otherwise use any such user content through any medium, whether alone or in combination with other content or materials, in any manner and by any means, method, or technology, whether now known or hereafter created.
Okay, so you get the point. It's so predatory. And, I was doing a stand-up show recently. I can't say the name of the massively large comedian who's nationally known, touring stadiums, but I was doing a show put on by him, and they wanted me to sign this paperwork that they would be able to use my set for their Sirius XM radio show without any compensation other than the $100 they were going to give me. And I was like, it is so predatory what people do when they get some power. Spotify, living up to the absolute power corrupts absolutely quote. Couldn't have said it better myself. All right, if you enjoy independent media, if you enjoy political takes that aren't bought or paid for, just my own opinions from my life I've lived. If you want to kind of be a part of my journey, please consider subscribing. If you want, you can donate to the Patreon, patreon.com/Dave Neal, or YouTube memberships. Once a week on YouTube memberships, I'm giving sort of a creator advice on people that are trying to do what I do or start their own social media. I'm out here just to offer you advice, audit your channel, and kind of form a community around, really moving past this corporate world that you don't have to work for other people anymore. Be your own boss. Leap in the Net will appear. We'll see you then. Every morning, every afternoon, twice a day is The Rush. I'm Dave. We'll see you then.